Welcome to another episode of Satchats Short Stacks. I am your host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus Bitcoin, smash buyer, and proud multi-coiner. And I'm here with my co-host, Stuart. You want to introduce yourself?
Stuart, co-host, Bitcoin Maxi.
Before we dive in, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, smash it like I smash buy Bitcoin. Because if you do, and you're within the first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you will be automatically entered to win 1 million sats, which we will be choosing one of you at random as soon as we get to 1,000 subscribers. We'll also be opening up a live show on YouTube Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Stuart, there was a comment that came through on YouTube, which you are just always in the YouTube comments.
I'm hanging out, dude.
If you want to get at Stuart, just go to YouTube, comment on some stuff.
Yeah.
Chances are 90% of the time it's Stuart who's actually answering those comments.
Yeah, okay? Yeah. You'll see it's me because I always say, hey, at your name is Stuart here. If I'm the one commenting, that's all I know. Leave me a comment. We did a video exploring in detail what it would be like if Ithaca Hummus were to adopt a Bitcoin standard. Published it to YouTube. Here comes a comment on that video from Satillionaire at IDC45. He says, hey guys, great clip. I'd love to see you talk more about the marketing aspect of being the first company in an industry, category, etc., to put Bitcoin on its balance sheet.
Really good question. And also thank you for the compliment on that video. This brings up inside of me this whole idea of like, what's the right way to build a brand? The right way to build a brand, from my perspective, is to, as a brand, you want to live out your values. You want to do the right thing. You don't want to say the right thing. You want other people to talk about what you do and what you stand for as a brand. If you have to go out there and create advertisements and pay to plaster your message in front of people, there's a time and place for that. But I'm a big believer in what's called an owned and earned content and media strategy for brand building. What that means is you've got owned, you've got earned, and then you've got paid media. Okay. I'm not talking about paid media, especially for an emerging smaller company. You're kind of forced to drive word of mouth and get yourself into the press through doing cool stuff and then turning on the PR machine so that you can get out there and talk about it. So doing something like adopting a Bitcoin standard for Ithaca Hummus, first and foremost, I would see that as a huge PR moment. I would work with our PR team and we would create a set of talking points and a pitch for them to then go out and start pitching this angle to TV shows, reporters. They would put me, I would start doing interviews, that might get a write-up in a magazine and Forbes and Entrepreneur or something like that. Or maybe I would start going on like the media circuit and doing face-to-face taped interviews all about, okay, Chris, so we've got Ithaca Hummus. We know Ithaca Hummus and know you guys for hummus, but now you have decided to adopt this Bitcoin standard. What's that all about? And then all of a sudden that message gets piped out there to all the Bitcoiners in the world who find out that, wait a second, not only does this company make amazing hummus, but they also have adopted this Bitcoin standard, and they've got a founder who really believes in some of these libertarian ideals and values and individual sovereignty and, money equals freedom, access to Bitcoin can change someone's financial picture. And
So,
I just think that's a great message.
okay, so it sounds like your first step, since you're not a big pay per view type guy, at least not for a company your size. I mean, you're not going to have the whatever that dude is who's like a Chase Bank. What I don't know what it is. You see those commercials all the time where he's like, "Oh, I love savings accounts with only no fee checking account." You're like, dude, get out of my face.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yes.
you're not real.
Yeah.
This ad's not real. I
Yes.
don't want the fact that you're advertising that I can put my money with you for no fee is ridiculous because I
Yes.
shouldn't have to pay a fee to put my money with you because you're not making money off it.
Yeah.
So you're not in that paid advertising space. So step one, you wouldn't pay attention to that. And you would go to a public relations campaign where it's almost like a personality forward campaign where, yes, Ithaca Hummus is adopting a Bitcoin standard, but the real angle is that's because the founder and CEO is a Bitcoiner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the progressives, the Geicos, the Chase Banks of the world, they pay to get their messaging out there because what are they marketing? They're marketing features and benefits. Okay. That's not how you build a following. That's not how you build like a real durable brand that is irreplaceable in the hearts and minds of consumers. That's the business we're in at Ithaca Hummus. We want to build not just a product with unique features and benefits, but a brand that actually stands for something that like a movement. You know what I mean? And you do that by talking about your values and by living your values in the decisions that you make and then going out and telling that story.
Okay. So what happens after that?
Well, I mean, the other fundamental truth of great marketing is that at the end of the day, what you're really trying to do is incite word of mouth. If what I do as a brand and as a brand owner through the quality of my product, through the decisions that we make as a company, through the PR efforts that we that we invest in, if at the end of all those things, I can create a conversation from one person to another, I've done my job. I'm trying to get people to talk about the brand so that I don't have to do it for myself as a brand. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
And it helps to have a really good tasting product. It helps to have a really high quality product that actually legitimately is better than anything else out there.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to have that. That's almost table stakes. But what's even better than that is if you can control the narrative of your brand and give people connections to it. Lots of different connections, lots of stories that they can tell. It doesn't have to be the same story. You know, you just want to have an impact on people. And with, you know, the way that we do that, you know, for even larger communities as a brand, so that they have some kind of emotional connection to you and they can go out and spread the word and tell your story on your behalf.
Okay. So step one, PR campaign.
Yep.
Step two, kind of like, I guess, generate buzz or generate word of mouth or, you know, something like that.
Well, I would actually say step one is to define the narrative.
Okay.
Like, what is the story that when you get to step three, where people are talking to each other, what do you want them to say? So let's start with that in mind. Let's put that together. Then let's start to seed that story out into the world through social media, through PR, through interviews that I do, through articles that, you know, I'm interviewed in.
Okay.
And then, you know, continue to reinforce that message as people are talking about it. So that something like Ithaca Hummus is the first CPG brand to adopt a Bitcoin standard. That's the narrative. We go out and we tell that story through all these different channels. And then as people are spreading the word about us through the Bitcoin community, let's just say, we want to continue to reinforce that with future state content, future state PR that's like, oh yeah, that's the Bitcoin hummus company. I think if we were to follow those 3 steps and do each of them well, it could be a really successful campaign for us.
Nice. All right. Well, stay tuned to satchats to see if Chris decides to adopt a Bitcoin standard for Ithaca Hummus. Hope that answered your question at IDC45. Thank you again for the comment.
We appreciate you tuning in today to our little short stack here. Satchats Short Stacks is for educational purposes only and should not be construed for financial advice. We'll see you on the next one.